makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In today's episode, I will be having a conversation with Tanya Stinson. Tanya has a remarkable background as an active member of many healthcare organizations, including the American College of Healthcare Executives and Women's Health Executive Network, with a passion for mentoring and coaching leaders. She is the founder of Leading Towards Change, LLC, and an expert in Lean Six Sigma methodologies. Get ready to be inspired by a true female founder who is making waves and creating a positive impact in the healthcare industry and beyond. Hi, Tanya. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to finally have this discussion with you. I look forward to learning more about all the great work you are doing and also with your company as well. So you have an extensive background in healthcare quality and improvement. Can you tell us a bit about your journey and how you become deeply involved in this field?
So I will say that I've always been passionate about helping people. Became a Texas certified peace officer at first because I knew I wanted to help, but didn't quite know that I was going to be getting into the healthcare space. I had my youngest son who basically when he was born, he was not breathing. He was on life support for about 2.5 weeks. And it was just one of those things that, you realize what your calling is when something bad happens. And so I decided I wanted to try to get into the healthcare space and help people that, breathe and just essentially getting into healthcare to implement process improvements, because traditionally process improvements were more so done in from a lean manufacturing perspective in manufacturing when they first started around the late 1800s. And so Henry Ford with Ford Manufacturing was one of what we call the founding fathers of lean. And so traditionally when I had gotten my master black belt, I was working in an above ground coal mining operation. So mining coal in a coal mine. And
Wow.
so that was when I started on my lean journey. And then when everything happened with my youngest son, I just decided I wanted to get into a space where I knew I could help people. And of course, not just helping like improve products and improve quality for things that don't live and breathe, but actually getting into healthcare where I can make a positive impact and help people, physicians, nurses, and clinical and non-clinical staff, and implementing process improvements that will be better for the patients and the people doing the work.
Wow, you are amazing. That's all I can say. But also you are a very active member of multiple healthcare organizations. For example, the American College of Healthcare Executives, also the North Texas Association of Healthcare Quality, and also not to mention Women's Health Executive Network. And also you're part of an American Latino Healthcare as well. So how has been part of all this association influence your career and personal growth?
So for me, and this is just for me being who, I'll tell you, and I'll just tell you where I started from. So moving here, I came from the country, moved to the big city, and I was scared to really kind of put myself out there. And I wanted to get to know a lot of people. And, I knew what my goal is for getting into healthcare, but I didn't really know where to start. And so I started seeing a lot of posts about the American College of Healthcare Executives of North Texas and, decided to go to one of their functions and just became really instantly impressed with how welcome they were and welcome me into the organization. But I think one of the key things is the most important thing is you have to network. I know a lot of people are very uncomfortable with networking, but I mean, you make long lasting permanent relationships and what I call friends, because when I say, that's just the country girl in me, when I make new relationships and, introduce myself with people, we get to know each other, then I call you a friend. And so knowing that I had made a lot of connections with these folks and networked with them for over the years. So now I consider them to be my friends. That's just who I am. But I think, networking is super important. So for advice from me to someone else is, sometimes you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable and kind of put yourself out there and meet new people, because you never know. You could meet somebody like me. I love meeting people and I love making new friends. So yeah.
But why do you, I understand why you joined all of them, but how do you find time to handle all of them?
I think it goes back to, I don't sleep a lot. I actually raised 4 boys, and for quite a few years I was a single parent, and so knowing that I was a single parent raising 4 kids, I didn't sleep a whole lot at night, and then I was going to work during full time during the day, and then going to work at night, going to school at nighttime, working during the day. And I think now that I've gotten my master's degree and of course my master black belt, I still try to find things to help occupy the time. And so I have to keep myself busy doing things. And so I think that's the reason why I try to stay so busy and try to stay as active in as many organizations as possible, just simply because I can't be bored. Like I get bored really easy.
That sounds like me. But when we're talking about black belt.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, it does actually. And it does feels good to help people, but also it also feels good to be a part of something else and to see that you are making a difference in this world, And I think that when people search you, they'll find you because you like everywhere. You cannot not finding you. It's impossible.
Well, I think for me, the only place I'm really active is on LinkedIn. I haven't really, I don't have that, how the younger generations are on TikTok and on Instagram and all these others. I'm not so much on any of those. I just stay really active as part of LinkedIn and just want to communicate how strong the organizations are, the connectivities we have. It's almost like, because, a lot of times when you have your family, but then you have your work family. And so I consider a lot of the connections that I have to be like work family. We get together, we network, we have a good time. And then when we don't see or talk to each other, we miss each other. And I think that's, if people are hungry for that, then I encourage them to join a lot of these organizations, because it certainly makes you feel that way, like you're actually part of a work family.
Absolutely. But now in 2020, you launch Leaning Towards Change LLC. Could you share the inspiration behind starting your own consulting firm and the kind of work you do through it?
So I will say I lost my mom in November. I lost my mom in August of 2020. And in November, I started Leaning Towards Change. And in the midst of all of that, I had the Student Council of ACHE, North Texas, reach out to me, and they said, "Hey, Tanya, we want to get these certifications in Lean Six Sigma. We want to get this knowledge, but we can't afford it through anybody else." And so that was kind of like, when you have multiple things coming at you, my mom passing, and it's like, what do I do with my life? I know I want to do something different, than what I'm doing now. And then, of course, when they came and said they needed help and wanted me to create these courses, and so I just kind of stepped out of my comfort zone and started creating online courses so that I could give these students the education they needed to be successful in performance and process improvement. So, and I haven't looked back. It's been a wild ride. I'm super excited on how many people I've certified up to this point, and I'm hoping it continues to grow. Fortunately for me, is the word of mouth has spread quite a bit, and I haven't had to do a lot of advertising, which is good because I don't make a lot, but it's good to know that people are spreading the news and the positive news about Leaning Towards Change for sure.
But when you talk, the first time I remember learning about you, and I seen on your LinkedIn, black belt, master black belt, and I'm like, she's a master in black belt? I'll stay away from this girl so she'll kick me. But it takes me a while to understand that it's not the same thing. So can you tell us a little bit more about Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt and the certification behind it?
Yes, ma'am. So there's actually, so it's similar. Now, a lot of people do think when they see that it has to do with karate, but it's really not. It's actually a methodology, performance and process improvement that stems back to Lean and Six Sigma, traditionally, where there's a white level, then a yellow, then green, then black, then master black. And so with each level of certification, like the white level is the foundational level. And then with each level, there's levels of difficulty and responsibility that are added for each level. And master black belt is the highest level you can go. And what I'll say there's also a lot of statistical analysis involved. Is the higher up you get. And so as part of my courses, one of the things that I teach is with more training comes more responsibility, because essentially there is with Master of Black Belt initiatives where I'm going in to help different organizations, whether it's inside healthcare or not. Any organization, any business can use performance and process improvement. And so, and I say process improvement truly because a lot of times if you improve the processes, then the secondary goals would be saving money, saving time, helping the organization to become more efficient and effective. But essentially, it's really just a different levels as part of a methodology, an improvement methodology. And like I said, you start out at a white with a foundation, you get to yellow, then green, then black and master black. And, even as a master black belt, there's, I've worked with different companies and organizations where there could be 50 plus people as part of those projects.
So now when you get the white belt, so what can you still go out there and work with organizations, or you are more like in a probation period until you get your yellow belt? How does it work?
So as a white belt, you actually would be coached by a black belt or a green belt. And, they would basically just kind of walk you through the foundational tools. Actually, I have a 2-hour online white belt certification course. And as part of that, you're really just learning about the foundations of what is Lean, what is Six Sigma, how are those used together to improve upon processes. And then, of course, we talk about the founding fathers and mothers of Lean. And then we talk about the founding fathers of Six Sigma and, how those two work together to be as successful as they've been over many, many years and, implementing positive improvements for different organizations. And then, of course, as you grow, so same thing with a yellow, you would still be under the coach and mentorship of a green belt or a black belt. And then, of course, you kind of go from there. So a green belt, of course, is coached and mentored by a black belt. And then, of course, a black belt is mentored and coached by a master black belt.
Wow, this is a lot of work, isn't it?
It's been a wild ride for sure.
With it.
I do. I think it's one of those things. So like for people that watch this podcast and they're really interested in learning what process improvement is about, I will say back in the day before I even knew this was something. So I feel this is deeply ingrained in my DNA. I'm that passionate about it. I knew it was something naturally, like when I learned about the methodologies and how to use the tools, I was like, man, I can get paid to do this. Like, this is what I want to do anyway. and all the better, right? So if you are one of those that's just like a curious thinker, you always wonder why things happen the way they do, or why, people are always doing something regardless, if it's the right thing to do, they do it regardless because it's what they've been told to do, like it's their job. Because that's a lot of times that's what you'll hear oftentimes is, when you go ask people why they're doing it this way, they'll say the reason why it's what I'm supposed to do. It's what I've always done. And so basically it's about trying to like walk those processes out with them to determine how can they become, it's not just about process improvement. It's about quality improvement, safety improvement, and all of those different things. You can integrate all of that into the process changes.
It's a process. But what's built that passion, passion for it? Where does it come from?
I think, like I said, back if you're curious about things, and like back in the day, a lot of my family are peace officers or in the military, a lot of law enforcement. And so I wanted to get into forensics in the FBI. I graduated top 3 in my class, and I wanted to be in criminal justice, be a criminal justice teacher. And if you're one of those naturally curious people that likes, investigative shows, trying to find the root cause of problems, trying to really get into the minds of people and why they do things sometimes the way they do them, well, there's an actual analysis portion of the PI methodology where you're analyzing the problems to try to figure out why are we doing it this way. And so I think if you have that mindset and you're curious about like how processes work and naturally curious on why people do things the way that they do them, then you may be genuinely interested in process improvement methods.
So pretty much your dream, you're still living that dream just in the healthcare industry instead of being a police officer or being an FBI agent.
Yeah, and it feels good too because, you don't get a lot, people don't really know that you're in the background making changes and helping to make improvements. A lot of times organizations, especially in healthcare, if you work with nurses and things, sometimes they can get magnet designated for a lot of the initiatives that they work on. And of course, organizations can be recognized for a lot of these major improvements that have been made to their organizations. And you're kind of in the background, you're helping them to make these positive changes. But a lot of times you're not really recognized for that. You're kind of like this silent person in the background. And I think for me, knowing that I've helped patients, not even if it's just one patient or a patient's family, or even the people doing the work, it's super important to really help the staff and help them to improve upon their processes every day. And so for me, knowing that I could make positive changes to help them that are going to then better improve the healthcare for the patients and the people that we serve, I think it makes it all worth it for me.
So now what's the process to get certified? How does the whole process work?
So I think, are you talking about if people are interested in getting into process improvement?
Yes. Do they need to have a degree on it, or they just get a certificate?
No.
Certification for it?
Oh, yeah. So I would say no, you don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have any kind of experience. If you are truly interested in getting into process improvement, and this is another reason why I'm so passionate about is you truly don't have to have a degree to become knowledgeable in process improvement. I have talked to people and gotten people certified that did not have a job and were looking for something. And these certificates and this skill set can potentially give you a leg up against other people looking for a job because it makes you more competitive. It shows organizations that you truly are passionate about making changes. And the fact that you're getting these certifications without them having to pay for it. And, it's showing that you want to get the job done. You want to get into leadership and things like that. And it shows that you can actually lead a large group of initiatives and be able to kind of walk people through making positive changes. A lot of organizations are looking for these skill sets these days more often than not.
But now, if they wanted to start with you, they just need to go to your website, or they need to have a conversation with you? How's that starting point start really?
So they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. They can reach out on my website, www.leaningtowardschange.com. The website is active 24/7. And so there's also a place for them to leave a message on there. And so if they are interested, I'll certainly get the messages that they leave through my website, and I can get back with them and contact them to kind of find out what their goals are and how far they like to go with their process improvement journeys.
Like, for example, I guess the biggest question I have for you, sorry if I ask you so many questions about it because it's very interesting and I think it can help a lot of people as well. But let's say that they sign up with you for the white belt. So how long did the white belt course takes for them to be able to even get to black belt?
So the white belt course is 2 hours. The yellow belt course
that's
Yep, that's it, 2 hours. And so we walk through so I'll walk through this with you. These courses, I've designed them as I want everyone to be completely successful as going through my courses. And so I stay on the calls with them the entire time. I don't have anybody else teach my courses. I'm very active with my people because I want them to be very successful. And so the courses they're all online, but of course I coach and support during the entire time. And so the first white belt session is 2 hours online. And so I'm there to teach you. And then of course, there is a certification exam once the course is over. And once you pass that certification exam, then you get your certificate. And then it goes on to, if you want to continue on to your yellow belt, then of course I coach and mentor you through that entire session. And that one's 8 hours. And then of course you would pass to get your complete your exam to get your certificate. And then I have my green belt online certification course That one is 40 hours. And like I
Wow.
said, I'm there the entire time to support you all the way from start to finish. And I think that's another reason my courses have been so successful is because I'm there to support the entire time. It's not like they're recorded online where, there's nobody there to really help you or answer questions when you need for them to be. I'm there active the entire time.
Which is different. You don't get that a lot. You don't even get that when you spend a lot of money in universities anymore. So
Well,
I think that's an A+.
Well, there's a lot, especially as you grow on your PI journey and the more higher the belt, the more questions you're going to have, especially as you get into a lot of the statistical analysis type questions. As you start in the green belt, there's a lot of statistical analysis that has to be completed. And there is homework that I assign, but before I give you the homework, I go over every bit of the course content in detail and ensure that you understand it before you're assigned the homework as part of that green belt course. So,
but now you talk about exams. So are we talking about an exam they need to go take with the state, or are we talking an exam they just take that with you?
Just take it with me. And it's open book because basically the way I've designed my courses is they're PowerPoint presentations. And so that PowerPoint presentation is what we essentially call the workbook. And then I also give you a fully functional toolkit. So a lot of times when people get certifications through other organizations, they may be required to purchase software applications like Minitab and things like that. So for me, I have designed a toolkit fully functional in Excel. So when people, complete my courses and things, it doesn't cost them to use the tools because I've already built them in Excel, and I just share that that toolkit with them.
Awesome.
Tools that it's tools that I've used over the years in completing process improvement changes and things in different organizations, and it's tools that I've used every time. And so, just want everyone to be successful and be confident in how to use these tools. So I teach them how to use them, each of these tools separately as part of the classes.
But when you talk about being there with them, coaching them and guiding them through the whole process, is that come with the course, or is that something they have to pay you extra for?
No, that comes with the course. I'm there. Like I said, so for me, I look at, the way I tell people as part of my classes is there's no failures as part of my class, because I feel like if you failed, then there's something that I didn't teach you to where you can completely understand it. And so I do fortunately have a 100% success rate, and I haven't had to do that with the student yet. But this is what I tell everyone, because that's the way I feel. If this is all about process improvement. So if there was something that maybe you didn't understand, then there was a process, obviously, I didn't deliver in the appropriate way. And so now it's about going back to understand, let me meet with you separately and let me coach you through maybe what it is that you don't understand and maybe what I need to communicate better so that you can understand, and what can we do to get you there.
To make sure that they're successful and toward their own goals as well.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
You think of everything, don't you?
Well, I think for me is I remember how it was when I first got my black belt, my green belt, my black belt, and my master black. I was at a point to where I graduated and I didn't know what was next, and I didn't really have anybody to reach out to help me and to support me during that process. And so I was left with a lot of unanswered questions. And so that's the reason I think I'm so passionate about trying to ensure that the folks that go through my courses get my full support, is because I didn't have anybody there to help me when I really needed it. And so you leave those courses and you're going, what do I do now? Like, what's next?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is really, go ahead.
Go ahead.
A lot of it is really about real-time application. Once you learn the tools, you have to work with different organizations and show them that you're hungry for change and you want to really help them to make a positive impact. And so it's really about getting different projects under your belt to show that you have the tools and the skills to really make the long-term changes that they would like for different organizations, what these different organizations would like for you to make. And so I think for those that get these certifications, it's really about going to their leaders to say, hey, I have these certifications now and I want to use them. Because guess what happens when you learn different things and you don't use those tools? You eventually lose the knowledge. And I don't want these people to do that. I want them to use their knowledge to be able to make positive changes for organizations, regardless in healthcare or not. So,
but you know what, Tanya, they also have certification out there that you need to renew it every year, or you need to go refresh your brain every year if there's something new. Is that the exact same thing as well? Is it a certification you get? You don't have to do anything with it after that, or no renewal is necessary?
A lot of these larger organizations require you to, kind of renew your belt every year, just simply because they want to see that you are using the tools, and they want you to show that you are competent in still continuing to use those tools. With my certifications, I don't require that you renew. For me, I just, every so often I send out emails and things that ask to see how you're doing. Are you using their tools and things like that? I'm hoping here pretty soon that we actually get to have a consortium where a lot of people who have belted as part of my courses can bring some different projects they've completed and share those with other people. Just simply because it would be kind of cool to see what other people have done, with the tools that they've been given. And I'd like to kind of see, if they continue to pursue their passion of process improvement and what their journeys are like today. So I'm hoping we get to do that pretty soon.
That's going to be fun.
I think so. I hope so anyway.
I think it will. But you know what? Talking to you for the past 25 minutes, one thing I realized is that you are very passionate when it comes to coaching and mentoring. So it seems like you like to empowering leaders to foster culture, performance improvement. So how do you approach coaching and mentoring to create a lasting impact on individuals and organizations?
Well, I call it having a process improvement brain, because essentially I think of everything in a process. Like, what's that process look like? And so for me, I think it goes back to mentoring and coaching. I just want people to be successful, and I know what my experiences have been like over the years, and some of them have not been the best. And so I think for me, I just want to provide the best service possible to help people to get to where they're going. And so even being a coach and mentor, one of the first things that I do when coaching and mentoring someone, outside of, the PI courses that I provide, but from a coaching and mentoring perspective, I've been a mentor for several years now. And one of the first things that I do is I ask them, what do you want out of this relationship? Like, what are your goals? And because sometimes I may not be a subject matter expert of something, maybe a goal that you're wanting to achieve, but I do have a large network of people that I've, created relationships with. And so if it may not be a strength of mine, it certainly I can reach out to someone else and see if I can leverage them to help who I'm mentoring. And so another thing that I do is I require the people that I'm mentoring to take personality assessment. And the reason why I do that is, we also do a personal SWOT analysis, which is really gauging what their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are from a goals perspective. So if you have something that you're necessarily weak in when we talk about it, then what can we do to essentially build you up to make it to where that's a strength and not so much of a weakness anymore?
And is that something when it comes to mentoring, do you also mentoring outside of your company?
Yes. And so leaning towards change, I'm the one and only employee so far. It's still rather small. I'm hoping that it grows. But I'm the only employee. Now, as part of my full-time job, I work for Texas Health Resources. And of course, I still mentor outside of that. So as part of the American College of Healthcare Executives of North Texas, I'm a mentor every year. In fact, I'm a current mentor now with the mentee. And so when I mentor people, it is outside of those two organizations and more so a larger part of ACHE. And, like I said, I enjoy it very much. It gives me fulfillment to know that I'm helping others to continue to be successful. A lot of times people are mentored just simply because one of their goals is they want to get promoted into a different role and things like that. And of course, we do a personality. I ask them to complete a Strengths Finders assessment to really determine what their personality is and how I can best help support them from that perspective. And then I also asked them to complete what I call a personal SWOT analysis, which is actually what we call a PI tool. And what that does is it helps to identify what their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are compared to their goals. And so if they're more so weak in one area, it's what can I do to best support and mentor them to help them get to where that's actually a strength instead of a weakness, and how I can best help them to be successful in promoting themselves to get where it is that they'd like to go.
you go really deep when it comes to coaching and mentoring.
I think, I've had a lot of positive people that have kind of coached and mentored me along the way. I'm super grateful for them. And I've used a lot of the tools that they've used with me. In fact, I have a really good friend of mine, Susan Watson, who was my very first mentor as part of ACHE. And a lot of the tools that she used with me are some of the same tools that I'm using to really help to coach and mentor others. So kind of filling in those same shoes.
So with your wealth of experience, what advice would you give to healthcare professionals and leaders who are looking to make a positive impact on the healthcare system?
I think don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. A lot of times I don't know if everybody else is like I am, but you're always your own worst enemy when it comes to over criticizing yourself. And so don't criticize yourself to where you're so scared to make a move. That's one thing that I see, for me, I was always scared I knew I always wanted to do something different, but I was always scared to step out of that comfort zone. And now, the more I do it, people, often message me and say I'm an inspiration. Well, I'm grateful that they give me those kinds of positive messages. But for me, I'm doing those things that I was scared to do before. And so now it's just really about how do I step out of who that person was and into something different and make positive changes that are going to, positively impact me in my future. And that's one thing. Don't be in your own, I don't know how to say it. Like, don't get in the own way. Don't let you being the block to being your successful yourself. Like, don't be your own worst enemy. And so, don't doubt yourself so much that it prevents you from kind of stepping into what you could be and what your potential could be.
Well, thank you so much, Tanya, for giving me the chance to have this conversation with you. Before I let you go, anything else you'd like to share with us today?
I will say this too. Denzel Washington, there's a long speech that he had, I believe it was when he had graduated or something. He had talked about falling forward. And so basically it's about don't be afraid to fail, because you can basically fall forward, use it as a learning opportunity to help you to grow, but still reach out, just take a leap of faith and take that chance and take that opportunity, because you never know how far it's going to get you. I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for taking a chance. And so that's what I encourage people to do is just, get comfortable with the uncomfortable, step out of your comfort zone and try to do something different with your life.
Exactly. You never know what will happen until you give it a try.
That's right. And if you fall, pick up and dust yourself off and try again.
Try again. I love that song. Well, thank you so much, Tanya, for talking to you, for learning more about everything you do. And it's inspiring. It's you keeping people moving forward, because sometimes that the world can attack, and we do need a way to fall back and be able to even get a certificate, be able to even from white to go to yellow, be able to just have you as a coach or a mentor that you went through a lot yourself as well. So it's mean a lot to other people, especially as women as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when you go through tragic things, that I was homeless with 4 boys at one point in my life. And I think, you just can't let people stop you from getting where you want to go. And so use those as tools of strength and determination and never quit.
Amen to that.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.